SSPN live. I'm sure some of you guys are still getting in here. We'll wait to see what the numbers are and all that stuff. But Ethan, it is free agency. It is NBA free agency as we speak. It's been going on for the past hour. We've seen Jared Allen go. We've seen JaMychal Green go. The list goes on and on. But just what are your thoughts so far going into this, or what were your thoughts going into this free agency? And now that we're about an hour into this thing, what do you think?
I was a little shocked how quickly it just started. Like as soon as 5 o'clock for us, like at 6 o'clock Eastern for
Mm-hmm.
everybody else hit, it was the Lonzo Ball news going to Chicago, and then I was like, okay, so we're not trading DeJounte to Chicago. That theory is done. But nothing has happened that's exactly surprising yet, other than maybe our signing a little out of the blue because of who we drafted. I thought maybe we'd go for a big first and then maybe get a shooter later, like an old veteran guy. But I'm not angry with Doug McDermott. I think he can contribute. I just think that our first real need was big, and so far, no news on whether or not we're going to sign a guy like Lauri Markkanen or anything like that. We don't exactly know what's going to happen, so we're just waiting at this point.
Yep, absolutely. There's been some other news that has just come out. I just pulled up Twitter just to see what was popping, and Kyle Lowry has agreed to a 3-year deal for approximately $90 million.
Yeah, with the
$90
Heat.
million for Kyle Lowry at however old he is. I don't know if I'd do that personally. And yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit off topic, but going back to the Spurs only signing so far, and I am happy to just say that the Spurs have done something pretty quickly to start free agency. We've been asking for that for so long, regardless of the signing. We've just been asking for that specifically for so long. So I'm happy that at least that happened. Obviously, shooting is a need. I don't know. With our draft picks, I feel like this is kind of redundant. Obviously, those guys aren't going to be ready to play. What this tells me, War, which is a little bit disappointing in my opinion, is that Devin Vassell is not going to be playing probably consistently for the Spurs unless they're going to do nothing else. And Doug McBuckets that we just signed is our starting four, which I'm kind of scared of that being the case, which is why when I first heard this signing, I was a little bit disappointed because I was like, okay, he doesn't really play defense. He's just a shooter. I guess it's cool. We need more veteran role players, and we do desperately need shooting. So I'm cool with that. But it's like, if he's going to be playing the four, like if he's not just running off screens as a three, basically, I mean, maybe sometimes we can play him at the four, but I would much rather play him as a three because he's the tank commander. Trevor Schultz says he's the tank commander. Yeah, no, he may be the tank commander, but just the amount of money we just gave him, it seems like a Joe Harris-like contract for a not as good Joe Harris. I think you're muted here, Ethan. I can't hear you.
My bad. Sorry, my dog was barking. I
You're
forgot to
good.
unmute. The Joe Harris comparison is valid. I don't know. I
He's a
like
little
Doug
bit
McDermott.
taller.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if I would go ahead and say Joe Harris is flat out better than Doug McDermott. Because we also have to remember who Joe Harris plays with, and who Doug McDermott played with for most of his career, which is like at best, like a healthy. I'm going blank on that power forward's name. Sabonis. A healthy Sabonis is like the best player that he's played with, and Joe Harris is playing with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. So I don't know if
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know if we can consider him like much worse, if at all worse, than Joe Harris. But I understand where you're coming from as far as, we don't necessarily need a shooter anymore since we just drafted two guys whose specific job is to shoot for us off ball.
And maybe this is just me feeling a little bit, maybe just being a little bit naive in Devin's development. But I personally feel like after a year with how much he played in the, he didn't really play that much in the G League, but with how much he played in the NBA, I just feel like Devin Vassell is kind of better than Doug McDermott off the bench as a three, just because of his defensive ability. And he's not as good of a shooter, but like he has the potential to be as good of a shooter, and he's like almost as good. So I just don't see why we're paying him $14 million. But I don't know. Once again, I'm not, the GM. So
and something I didn't even think about, maybe we're over we're overthinking how much the Spurs are wanting to play Trey Jones. Maybe their
Mm-hmm.
lineup is going to be Lonnie, Devin, and McBuckets. Maybe Lonnie's going to move and play a little bit more at the one spot. We don't necessarily know, and
I didn't
maybe they're
think of
just
that.
maybe
And
they're
they
going
could.
to maybe they're going to run an 11-man rotation, and that kind of I don't know. I don't think that would help necessarily
They're
for the
gonna move
development
Derek
of
to
our young
6-man.
players. Yeah, maybe they will move Derek to the 6-man. Like, there's so much unknown right now with the Spurs because of who we have on our roster, and we literally only have one power forward and then two centers, and then our backup center is technically a power forward that's playing center. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, we still need to address that 4 spot more than anything.
I agree absolutely, and not trying to interrupt you here, Ethan, but just I saw a couple questions a little while back. I haven't forgot about you guys. I've just been looking through Twitter while we're talking, and so McDermott's deal for the Spurs to start right now. The projection, it's nothing is official as of right now, but the projection is 13.5 million, and that's basically where it could start. Maybe it could be a little bit more. As Paul Garcia, y'all probably know him as a Spurs guy too. Basically, I don't know what this means, but this is what he says. McDermott's deal could start at 13.5 million with 8% raises. So when I hear that, that just looks like maybe he could get a little bit more money. So in regards to our cap, what is 49 minus 13? 36.
Yeah.
36.
Yeah.
So we still have 36 million in cap space. And I'm seeing a lot. Everybody already. There's some people who are cool with Doug. There's some people who are like, we don't need him. But we do need shooting. I see 13.5 mil is a bargain. To be honest, on this market, it probably was, Ethan.
Yeah, honestly.
Couldn't, I mean, well, I know I was about to say the Lakers or the Nets. I was like, actually, they can't play anybody. But no, so ML Miles, I don't think that Doug McDermott is not known for his defense, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. He
But
isn't. Go
go
ahead, Jude.
ahead.
Sorry.
I was
Okay.
going to say, well, the one thing that I remember from him in college, though, as we're talking, Ethan, is that I remember he was in the post. And granted, that was in college, but at Creighton, he was in the post a lot more than he's been in the NBA. But that was
Mm-hmm.
something that was a part of his game, so he might maybe incorporate that a little bit more, especially if he's playing a little bit more four. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm. He was one of those guys in college that was just a bucket getter. Like, there was no weaknesses in his game in college, and then he came to the pros and with athleticism and all that just like kind of relegated him to the 3-point line. But he's made a resurgence in his career as the NBA has become more 3-point line driven, and
Mm-hmm.
physicality's sort of been taken out of the game a little bit as he's grown into his career. So I think that he has a little bit more than just standing on the 3-point line in him. He can definitely be a guy that can score in the mid range and maybe play make, cut, backdoor, all that kind of jazz. He can play D, right? Miles, I see you. He can play D. He is 6'7", so he's not a short guy like Bryn Forbes, and he's not an old head like Marco Bellinelli. So he's not going to be as useless on that side of the court as those two were in our system. But he's not a Devin Vassell. He's not a lockdown guy. Like, that's not what he's known for.
Yeah. And I like what Mocha and Miles are saying in here too. But specifically Mocha, your point, I see McDermott as a better Camp. Joe can learn off him and be a better shooter overall. That honestly seems like that's exactly what this signing is. Now that I know that sounds crazy because we've been talking about all this stuff, but now that that's mentioned, this does kind of feel like, okay, this is the type of player that we're going to want to have on our roster moving forward. We're going to want to have, one of these Duncan Robinson type guys. Let's sign McDermott for Camp to learn from him. And I think you made a great point about Lonnie. I hadn't really thought of that, and overestimating Trey Jones's playing time, maybe, and really maybe, I can see that. Maybe I'm reading too much into one good defensive performance against the Suns when the Suns couldn't do anything right, and the Spurs did everything right in that one game. We'll have to see what happens with that, but maybe Vassell is going to be the starting 2. Lonnie's going to be the 1, and you'll have homeboy McBuckets at the 3. I don't know. We'll have to see, but that's something that's very interesting. We kind of just assumed, how the roster was going to look. But if this draft tells us anything, Brian Wright is moving more towards that kind of positionless basketball, so that would make sense.
And I just thought of something, Jude, that kind of scares me, but it could be a
Okay.
possibility. You and I think most of Spurs fans everywhere have just assumed that we were going to move Keldon Johnson back to his spot at the small forward and take him away from power forward. Maybe Brian Wright and Pop are thinking the exact opposite. Maybe we're like, no, Keldon's our four.
Think of Team USA. Think of Team USA right now. I was literally watching a clip. Sorry to interrupt you, Ethan, but I was literally watching a clip earlier today on CBS Sports HQ. They had former Spur Avery Johnson. I don't know if y'all remember Avery Johnson, but he was literally talking about how the Spurs' biggest challenge against Spain. I was watching a Spain USA breakdown, right? And the biggest problem is that we could be undersized against the Gasol brothers. And look, Pop, I love that you're trying to adapt and everything, but we've had this conversation multiple times on the show, Ethan. It's not that necessarily we need, like, the league is getting smaller. The league is getting shorter. That's not what's happening. That's not how small ball works. It just means that everybody at bigger positions are more skilled. Like Evan Mobley, you saw his tape. He's not a center. He's going to be played at the 5, but he is a 7-foot wing. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy who can dribble sprinting up the floor. Guys, bigs don't traditionally do that. So anyways, that's my little rant on that there. But it's a problem in Team USA, and it's a problem with the Spurs. And I hope they're not. I mean, look, I trust them. They know more about basketball than I ever will. But at the same time, I'm just not sure if that's a winning formula when you look back on last year, and it seems like one of the biggest issues was size. And Brian Wright even talked about that. So I don't think that's what's happening, because Brian Wright said in free agency and in the interview after the draft that we need to get bigger. So let's see if he does it. Let's see if he does it, though. That doesn't mean he may not, Ethan. He may not get it done.
Fingers crossed, Jude. What are some of the names as far as power forwards / centers that are still available? I know Kelly Olynyk is gone.
JaMychal Green's gone.
JaMychal Green is gone. Nerlens Noel, I think, is still no, he's gone, I think.
Let me check.
I'm pretty sure the Knicks re-signed a couple people. I don't know. I don't remember if he was one of them. I agree with you, Alexander. You can never have enough shooting, and that is
a good point.
Yeah, you can never argue. I mean, you can always argue. Excuse me. What was our biggest issue last year? Shooting or size? Like, I can see both arguments. So we definitely have addressed one of those issues. Now we just need to find somebody to, even if we start Luka Samanic, I wouldn't be mad. But we still need somebody to back him up at the 4 spot. I feel like I don't necessarily want Doug McDermott being our backup 4.
I don't want that either. I don't want him playing the 4 in general, but as of right now, that's what it looks like. But we still have $36 million. So I don't want to and the DeMar thing hasn't come, and that's the big domino. That's what we were expecting. I was expecting pretty quickly, honestly, to get the Lauri Markkanen news. If we sign and trade for Lauri, even if we give him a big contract, I'm not going to be as mad at the Doug McDermott signing. So we'll have to see. Yeah. There's so many questions, Ethan, and it's all happening real time.
Yeah. What do you guys in the chat think? Would you be mad if we got Lauri for giving up DeMar? I mean, we're not giving up DeMar. He's not coming back regardless. But would you be mad about that? I know, Jude, you were thinking you thought Kyle Lowry was going to potentially go to the Bulls, and then that would attract DeMar even more to go to the Bulls and be paired against Zach LaVine and Vucevic. But I don't know if that makes it less likely that the trade's going to go through, but who knows?
I have no idea, too. It seems like Bulls fans are kind of confused, too. I saw under the Doug McDermott signing that Kenny Beecham, he quoted underneath it, he was like, does this mean they don't want Lauri? So, Bulls and Spurs fans are like, let's do it. And it hasn't happened yet. So we'll have to see. We shall have to see.
Noah, you don't want Lauri, you want Zach Collins. I'd be fine with Zach Collins, too.
I'm not mad at that. Mad at that.
The only reason I'm a little bit higher on the Lauri trade than I was earlier, because if you've watched our channel, I'm not really a huge fan of Lauri Markkanen. I didn't want him to really come to the Spurs. But if we're trading DeMar to get Lauri, I'm fine with that, because either way, we're not going to get anything out of DeMar. So you might as well try and get, a piece. And right now, Lauri fits that, need at the power forward spot.
Yeah. So I think just in regards to Laurie too, like I guess the thing is I'm not a big fan of him either. Like the way that his career has gone, he's kind of just been a bust. But the thing is, he still has potential. He's still a really skilled big man, and he's still fairly young, I believe. And
He's 24.
if there's anybody who can fix him and use him in the right way, it's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
Spurs. And honestly, like I'm seeing people talk about Luka right now, and it's like you forget about him, but he hasn't really shown us anything in the league. Like Laurie has shown more than Luka's shown in the league so far. Obviously, he's been in the league longer and he's bigger, but still, like that seven, the size. It's look when it comes to Laurie Markkinen, let's just be honest. We're falling in love with what he could be, not what he is right now. But
Mm-hmm.
with the Spurs development team, this isn't just us talking out of our butts. This is why potentially Kelly Oubre wants to
Mm-hmm.
sign with us. It's literally because of the Spurs development team. It's very attractive to multiple different players that haven't realized their full potential, they feel like. So if we have to trade DeMar DeRozan and like let's get something out of him. And the thing is like next year, unfortunately, as much as I would love to say that Bradley Beal's gonna sign with us for $50 million and we're gonna pay him the big contract and all this stuff, like even if we offered these dudes like a ton of money, a lot of these stars just straight up wouldn't come here. So we might as well use that money on something. And Eric Piscina, you're talking about John Collins. Now, that's something that I also wanted to bring onto today's show. I watched this other little clip, Ethan, from Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Shams was talking about it. The Atlanta Hawks and John Collins, as of right now, are nowhere near a deal. They're nowhere near a deal, and there's going to be a lot of other teams that throw him the bag. So right now, we don't, and he believes he's a max player. I don't believe John Collins is a max player, but I'd offer it to him right now. If there's a chance to get it, I don't know, maybe not a max. Maybe I'm overexerting myself, but I would offer him 28 million right now.
28 million. Wow.
I know that sounds crazy, but like we're not going to get any better. I don't believe that we're going to get anybody better in next year's free agency. I know I've been talking about how it's attractive to wait until then, but I really just don't think I don't think that any of these major stars, I just don't see him signing with the Spurs. It's literally never
Mm-hmm.
happened ever other than LaMarcus Aldridge. That's the only big free agency signing that we've ever had. And
Mm-hmm.
David Gonzalez, I could see Kelly Oubre becoming an all-star with us. I don't know if any of y'all watch Clan the Spurs fan. He's another Spurs YouTuber out there. And he made a video talking about how Kelly Oubre, potentially could be an all-star. He could realize all-star potential with the Spurs. And I liked his argument. I don't think that it's guaranteed, but I do think that he's somebody that could sign with us and could really flourish with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to have his personality on the team. I think him and DeJounte just adding one of those, and Keldon too, just adding those kind of dogs to the team would help us too. So hopefully we can sign him. If we were going to sign a wing, I was expecting Kelly Oubre. So hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
and we still can. The thing is we can still sign probably Laurie and Kelly Oubre with 36 million left in cap. So if we go
Mm-hmm.
Doug McDermott, Laurie, and Kelly Oubre, or even if we just go Doug McDermott and Kelly Oubre, if we get Kelly Oubre, that's going to make everything better. You say no. Miles doesn't think that he could be an all-star with us. He couldn't do it. Well, the thing is though with Steph and all them is that was a pretty like stacked roster.
It was thrown together pretty quickly too. I don't know if he has all-star potential necessarily, especially
Okay, that's true.
if we're really going to tie our wagon. I don't know if I'm using that phrase correctly, but if we're going to tie our wagon to DJ and Derek and Keldon, I don't know if he'll get enough touches necessarily to be an all-star. And I don't know if the Spurs would sign him expecting him to be our number one guy. And I feel like if you're going to be an all-star, you got to be a number one guy, at least if you're on a bad team. Not saying that we're bad, but we're not playoff contenders or championship contenders or anything like that. But that's
He has all-star tattoos.
he does got a lot of tattoos, and maybe he'd bring a little bit more fans to to San Antonio.
Yeah, I think that going back to Kelly, I don't know. I think the main reason that he could potentially be an all-star is just the potential that he has as a shooter. Right now, he's just a basic he's just an average shooter as of right now. With Chip England, that realistically at 25 years old, that can get better. Okay, so if he can become just a 30. Right now, he's already like a 36% shooter or whatever. It doesn't matter. He can become a really good shooter with the Spurs. He has potential from what I've seen, in my opinion. Then on top of that, he's got a lot of athleticism. I was watching his tape with the Warriors today, and there were a ton of cuts, lobs, dunks, something that I feel like would fit with the current roster. Let's see, we just got an ESPN alert. It's about Jameis Winston. Not about the Spurs.
I will say this about Kelly Oubre though, for people that are just to play devil's advocate here. I did watch like the first part of the season with him and the Warriors, and he had a streak, Jude, of where he literally didn't make a single shot other than dunks. Like
I saw that. I was watching the highlights.
The only baskets he could make for like a solid probably couple weeks were just straight up dunks, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if he's going to just be a role-playing four and not our main option. It just depends on how much we're willing to give him. And I saw a comment up top, I believe it was Miles or Eric Pacina, said something about Marquise Chris. I wouldn't mind getting Marquise Chris back on a minimum deal. I don't know where he is with his injury, but just someone to like round out the depth chart.
Yeah, if he's a third stringer for sure. We just need to get him better as a shooter. That's the only thing with Marquise Chris.
And I also saw someone talk about how Laurie wouldn't help because weren't we getting muscled in the paint anyway?
He's not very physical in the paint.
But I will say this though, he is not as. He's probably not, we didn't. I don't think we got muscled in the paint. I just think we got out like lengthed. I don't know if that's the correct way to put it.
Exactly. We've talked about this instance so many times on the show. I don't know if y'all remember the late season Mavericks game where Keldon Johnson is guarding Kristaps Porzingis, and he's like this. He's literally part of. I didn't know that there was going to be armpit sweat. Sorry about that, y'all. Anyways, point is he's like that. He's got his arms up, playing his best defense as possible, and Kristaps is just like, oh, I'll just shoot.
Yeah, so I think if we just got someone taller there, that's Laurie's not going to lock anybody down better than Keldon, but just being taller,
the
just
Spurs
being a 6'11"
will demand physicality as well. Pop will demand physicality from Laurie, and maybe that's just us being a little bit optimistic there, but
having Jakob next to him will help too.
That's a great point also, because he's going to be on the perimeter mostly, so maybe it's that we need another center if we're getting out muscled, but I don't know. Anyways, going back up to Douglas Quaid, he asked a little while ago, I don't know if anybody's asked y'all yet, but do you guys think that DJ wants out of the Spurs? I'm not sure. I think that is a question mark for me, Douglas. I'm not entirely sure. The problem is there's been more cryptic tweets, but there were always cryptic tweets. So it's just, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if DJ is on our roster. I won't be surprised if DJ is traded. I won't be surprised. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It could go either way. I don't know if he wants to leave the Spurs. I just think that the rumors, maybe he's one of those guys that unfortunately is going to respond to the rumors on social media. I don't know if that means that his relationship with the organization is necessarily wavy or anything like that. I don't want to guess because I don't know. But if he's still on the team, I don't think DeJounte's the kind of guy that's going to quit on us and be like, I don't want to play for the Spurs. They almost traded me. I don't know if I see that in DJ. I think he's too much of a dog to do that. You know what I mean?
And I remember even the first time that he came to the Spurs, he was coming into an environment like the NBA. It's a business. So
is that your DJ impression?
That it's not very good. It didn't go as well. Look, if you want to get my full DJ impression is impersonating his Snapchats, and the problem is in his Snapchats he says explicit stuff, and we got to keep the PR good for SSPN, so we won't reveal that. Maybe one day we'll have a Patreon and y'all can see me impersonate his Snapchats. But Eric Pacina brought up a great point. A lot of y'all also were in here last time, so shout out to you guys for being in here twice. But he said, I don't see the Bulls shedding money. They just signed Ball. That was a big contract for Lonzo. So I don't know if they're going to have the money to do a sign and trade with DeMar. Didn't even think about that, and that might be why we signed Doug McDermott. But I still think that there's an opportunity for a sign and trade with DeMar. It's probably not going to be as good. but I didn't even think about that. So we just had this whole Lauri discussion, probably for no reason.
Maybe,
We're
or maybe they
learning.
don't have. Maybe they don't even have any money to match whatever contract we might offer Lauri. So that could potentially be on the table as well. I saw something up top that I wanted to address. Portis, Portis is staying in Milwaukee. Thank you, David Gonzalez, for beating me to the punch. And Rashawn Holmes in Sacramento. I didn't even know he was a free agent, to be honest with you. I don't think he's signed yet. I wouldn't mind Rashawn Holmes. I thought he was one of the guys we should have potentially traded LaMarcus for back when he was potentially being traded, and then we ended up letting him walk for absolutely nothing. If y'all remember that.
Pain. So much pain.
Bring it, LaMarcus.
Not trying to be quiet, y'all. I'm just trying to look at Shams and Woj.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I don't want to miss a big announcement or anything like that.
So Bobby Portis going back. That's the main news right now. Still nothing on the Spurs so far. Let's see what else is going on here in the chat. I think Oubre is really the main target right now, honestly. I feel like that's the most realistic option. And I like what Noah C is saying right now and what Mocha said right before both of y'all. Golden State sign and trade is still an option. Golden State, you need another star. We've got the super teams in Brooklyn and LA. We've got DeMar DeRozan right here. You can give us James Wiseman.
Oh man, I don't know if they would give up Wiseman.
No, but we probably could get Kelly Oubre.
Yeah.
That would probably guarantee us getting him.
If they gave us Wiseman, I'd probably give up almost anything except for Keldon. Honestly. Yeah. I'd give up almost anything.
I'm serious. I'm with that
too. Yeah, me too.
Because we need a big. We desperately need a big. So I would not be mad at Wiseman either. I think somebody else mentioned Marvin Bagley III. I wouldn't be mind. I would love. I know he struggled, but that's another one. He's basically Lauri Markkanen, except probably has a lot more potential on defense. Personally, still not the greatest defender right now, but I think that he just has more potential athletically. But I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at a sign and trade. I mean, it would suck for DeMar because it wouldn't suck that bad. He got De'Aaron Fox, but it wouldn't be a championship contender for DeMar, but. I would love if we could get Marvin Bagley. I would love that. I don't know how realistic that is, but I would love that. And Brian Sauls should have drafted Kai Jones. The thing is, as time has passed, Ethan, I think y'all may not have gotten to this point. You may never get to this point, but I think me and Ethan, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ethan, if I'm speaking for you, but every day I'm liking our two picks more and more.
I like them more and more as far as people. And I think that they both fit the Spurs culture. And I think they both have tremendous upside and ability to shoot the ball, play make. They're athletic, all of that stuff. I still think we reached at 12 to get Primo. I wish we would have maybe traded back. But
we did reach. We could have gotten him later in the draft. And that was something in our last live stream that I didn't get to mention just in the, getting caught up in conversation. Mm-hmm. But as much as I've came to like Primo and like that pick, and I think that 5 years from now we're gonna all feel like idiots. At the same time, we did reach for him. We could have traded back, gotten more assets, and still picked him. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's a testament to just how much they do believe in him. But still.
But you're right. I do love that kid. The more I see him on like Instagram and on the news and stuff.
Athleticism.
Sneaky athletic. I didn't know he had that. I saw that clip from practice when he went up and dunked it. Yeah.
Shout out Trevor Schultz mentioning that in the chat.
Thank you, Trevor. We will probably Noah. Noah, you and I are both pessimists, and I love it.
I think there's no way that if this is the only move we make, I'm gonna personally drive down to San Antonio and RKO Brian Wright out of the building. I'm gonna be like, you dumb idiot.
I could definitely see it being the only move that we make that can actually help us. Like we might go get some dude that's gonna be like a Marquise Chris, like we talked about. Like, I could see us
Okay.
doing that, like waiting till like day 3 or 4 or whatever, and then it's like Spurs get third string power forward to back up Luka Samanic, and then that's it. I could absolutely see that.
Look, okay. All right, look, well, the biggest, okay, no. I'm just in pain. I'm just in pain.
I hope
It's going to
I'm
be fine,
wrong.
though. We're signing Kawhi. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're signing Kawhi. It's going to be okay. Okay, so this is why I got just sad there and couldn't talk for a second. So shout out Noah Magaro George. He's another Spurs person, Spurs media person. And he said and noted that McDermott spent 70% of his minutes at power forward last year.
We got. I don't mean to interrupt you, but big news here from Adrian Wojnarowski. Free agent Zach Collins has agreed to a 3-year, $22 million deal with the San Antonio Spurs.
I like it. Okay.
I like that too. That's a cheap deal.
We're not getting Laurie, but honestly, Zach Collins might be better than Laurie. I know that sounds crazy. I think these are our two moves, unless we sign Oubre.
I like that a lot. And Alex
makes...
Len to the Kings.
Yeah. Alex Len coming home.
Alex Len to the Kings, that might be, I think Miles was talking about Rashawn Holmes being available. I don't think we can get him now, but he is maybe available because he plays the same position.
Oh my gosh. Well, Eric, thank you for being here, my guy. I want Kelly Oubre still too, and I think we have the money to get him. Let's go for the Zach Collins, Doug McDermott, Kelly Oubre trifecta and call today a good day.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm going to read some stuff about Zach, just in case people don't have any clue who he is. Power forward center, 23 years old, 6'11".
Like
he was the 10th overall pick in 2017.
He's still 23?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I didn't realize he was that young either.
I thought he was 25.
Not a big-time scorer, but he's 7 points last year,
signing.
6 boards, and he shot 37% from 3, if y'all were interested in that. So
yes,
he's
guys,
capable.
He is a good three-point shooter. He's a good shooter, yes.
And he's 6'11", which I really like because he
can play the 4 and the 5.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
I like that.
Go Spurs go. Unfortunately, my man Jared Allen signed a 5-year, $100 million deal with the Cavs about an hour ago, so we can't get him. But okay, yes, he has been hurt, and he's missed a lot of games. We need him to be healthy. Yes, we do. That is a concern, but it doesn't matter because he's 6'11". We needed that so badly. And at defense, to be honest, I need to go watch Zach Collins tape to have an assessment on his defense, to be honest. And the other thing just about Zach Collins, though, is he has been injured for 2 years. Yeah, he needs to stay healthy, but I don't think the Spurs make this signing if they're really concerned about his health. And remember, there have been instances where players have been hurt for consecutive years and then have gone on to have healthy careers. I know that sounds crazy, but a lot of times a change of scenery and a change of athletic training staff can help there too. Obviously, this is all looking on the bright side. You guys are bringing up great concerns, but all in all, we got a 6'11" power forward who can play in the post and can shoot and has the physical abilities to be a great defender. With the Spurs, you can get better on defense and you can get better at shooting. Those are two things that are bound to happen.
I do want to bring one thing up that I did not know because I don't follow Trailblazers basketball. Collins actually re-fractured his foot in June 29th of this year. Yes. So he probably won't. When do you think? Do you think he'll start the season with us, or is he?
Well, okay. It's August and October. So Zach Collins.
I don't know how long. I don't have no idea how long a foot fracture takes to rehab.
And every injury is different. So I'm gonna look up foot fracture, heal timetable. And this is just gonna be a rough estimate. This could not be true. But it says for most simple fractures, which I feel like this isn't a simple fracture because he refractured it. So I'm gonna go with. But most simple fractures, the healing process is about 6 to 8 weeks. That's just the healing process. That's not him getting back in basketball shape. Severe fractures may require surgery and more recovery time. I will assume that it's going to take a little bit more. Let's just say probably 8 to 12.
He did undergo surgery. It was a stress fracture.
Oh, so he already had surgery. That's
Yes.
actually really good then, that he's already
Mm-hmm.
had surgery. And maybe the reason that he's been hurt this whole time is because there was something going on that he fixed in that surgery, which is why maybe because think the same thing happened with Derek. Remember that too. He just literally had foot issues. So maybe he literally had the same foot issue as Derek, and the front office was like, "Oh, we know how this works. Fine." I don't know. We'll have to see. But I get your concerns, Miles. That it's a big guy with foot issues. I understand that, but look, let's see how it goes. Maybe if it's bad, then it's bad. We're not winning the chip this year regardless. So I'm just kind of like, let's experiment. We can probably trade these contracts. And I just like all the skills that he has. The skill set that he has is like exactly what we've been yearning for. So
yeah, Noah, it's 3 years, 22 million, so a little bit over 7 million a year, which honestly is pretty cheap. For a guy that, before he got hurt, he was probably worth a lot more than this. And, you're right about a big guy with foot issues is kind of, sketchy. But, like Jude said, what else are we going to do?
Yeah. So, okay, let me tell you something else. So, with Zach Collins, the Spurs cap space is down to $27.6 million, barely below a John Collins max. But also, it is official too that Kelly Oubre has not agreed with the team still. So there's $27 million to work with, boys, and I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't know. I feel good about the Kelly Oubre thing since I've talked about that today and I heard all this stuff. I've really liked that signing. That's I don't know. Maybe that's just me being too optimistic, but I really feel like that could happen too. But we also might be done right now. No, we can't. We're not done right now, but maybe with rotation players right now. We'll have to see.
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. That's We'll have to see. So how much were you able to catch how much that is a year? I mean, I know it puts us down to 26 million, but how much a year is that for it puts us down to 27 million or whatever I said. But so what? That's like 9 million a year around is how much we're paying Zach Collins.
It's a little over 7 million a year.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty good.
That's what I was saying. I think that's a really solid deal. Granted, if he plays, that's a really solid deal. But that's a tradable contract too.
He'll probably play at some point this year, even if it takes a little bit. But I don't know. We'll have to see, because once again, we saw what just happened with the whole Derek foot thing. So maybe they hold him out, but I don't think he'll be out for the whole year. So no. Kelly Oubre really seems like the did y'all see that? I don't know if the lights almost just went out at my house, but maybe not. But we'll have to see what happens. But we also have something else tomorrow that my boy Miles just talked about. I was actually about to bring it up. Tomorrow is our first summer league game. We're going to get to see Devin Vassell, Josh Primo, Joe Wieskamp. It's one of those
Trey Jones.
One of those pronunciations, Trey Jones. We're going to get to see them hoop tomorrow for the next couple days. And then they'll go down to Orlando and play in like the bigger summer league. But yeah, they start the Salt Lake one tomorrow. And I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm really hyped. I'm so hyped to see Primo too. The videos have looked crazy. If he's just like sniping and dunking, then I'm going to be like, okay, I'm sorry, Brian Wright. But I think that him and Wieskamp have some potential to look really good tomorrow, especially when you have some vets like Vassell and Trey Jones in there. And they might have wanted to bring them in just so they could run a proper offense with that team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Vassell can really show his skills as well.
100%. I was curious, actually, looking at the roster, because all the footage that we've seen, granted, we've only seen like maybe 4 plays on their Instagram and stuff, it has had Primo basically running the point, it looks like, kind of handling the ball. I could be wrong. Maybe they're just showing one play, but if Trey Jones is playing, he kind of needs the ball. So I wonder I'm wondering how that's gonna work. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that too, because that's one of the reasons that Brian Wright said they drafted him. One of the things that really impressed them, which made them obviously reach that high was the way that his playmaking was at the combine. So yeah, somebody else's power went out. Sorry about that, Mocha. But Daquan Jeffries, y'all talking about Daquan Jeffries? I really like that too. I saw the video of him dunking today, and they had the bunnies, and I was like, yeah, I'm really excited to see what he does as well, because he should be a really athletic player that can shoot too. So this summer league squad should be pretty stacked, to be honest. We should go out and win another. Y'all remember when Becky Hammond won the summer league with Kyle Anderson?
Yep.
And Jonathan Simmons and the boys.
I miss Slow-Mo. I wish we had him still.
I wouldn't. He's going to be a free agent next year. I'm not against the idea of bringing him back, especially as a 4 in the modern NBA. We didn't realize how. Well, one, we didn't realize how much he was going to progress as a 3-point shooter in Memphis. But also, we didn't realize like how his size and his skill set was going to translate really well to the transition of the NBA and the way that it's played. So
he's literally a Boris Diaw clone.
Yes, it's literally what he is.
Let's see if looking at Twitter, see if anything else has happened. Trevor Ariza to the Lakers.
Okay, so another thing is too, Trezor. Well, that's a good signing for them. I don't want to just ignore that. But San Antonio, Bobby Marks just tweeted, San Antonio can still generate up to $30 million in cap space, but would need to release the holds of Mills, DeRozan, and Gay. Release
Gay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're still trying to.
Everybody.
Yeah, I think Patty's. DeMar. Yeah, if we're going to sign and trade DeMar, yeah, but Patty, I don't think Patty's coming back. As much as I love Patty Mills to death.
Yeah, I think he's out of there. He got a championship with us. We appreciate him.
100%. Rudy Gay's gone.
yes, he is far gone. But the Spurs will likely sign KBD's contract to it. I think that KBD actually might already be signed. I've been seeing a lot of stuff that didn't they pick up? I know, even if it didn't get announced. I don't know. It's like everything that's talking about the Spurs roster has Keita Bates-Diop in it. So I think that Abdi Yusuf says who's KBD. that's Keita Bates-Diop. He is signed already. That's what I thought. He already he's qualifying offer. Okay, bet. So I think and I think now with all the signings that they've had, Bates-Diop will be transitioned to a 4, and he's just a 25-year-old wing. Abdi, he can shoot, he can play in the post, about 6'8". He's a really solid depth guy. Like if he's your third stringer, you're really happy about that because he can play as a backup.
Jude, give me your not final, but if this is all we do, are you happy with how everything's gone?
If this is all we do, I'm okay with it. If we sign Kelly Oubre, then everything's great. But the Zach Collins signing really saved me.
I do want to. I guess okay. If we sign Kelly Oubre, I would want to play Kelly at the 4, starting 4.
Look, with his tape, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah,
because he can catch lobs and dunk But
I still want Luka to get back up 4 minutes, but does that relegate Zach Collins to the third string 4, or does he take minutes now away from Eubanks at a slightly smaller 5? How would you work that?
Okay. What I would do, here's what I would do right now with the roster. So what? You've got DeJounte, Derek, Keldon, and 1 minute, I got a Twitter alert. Okay, nothing, anything. No breaking news. I feel like I could see Zach playing center too. I don't know.
He can play both. He's played both with Portland.
Yeah, we don't really have another center, honestly, on the roster right now. That's where they're going to play him. So, I mean, I know we have Eubanks, but I don't know if we're going to run Eubanks. Maybe we do play Eubanks. I don't know.
He's been working. He's been working this offseason.
He's been working.
You're working on that jump shot. I've been stalking his Instagram for you, everybody here. He's been working.
I don't know. This is interesting. Doug McDermott does take minutes away from Devin Vassell. Easy. That's probably that's the only thing I don't like about the McBucket signing. I would have much rather just rolled with Kelly Oubre at the 3. Eubanks. Noah. I just hope that Eubanks is. If Eubanks is our third string center, I think we should be happy about that. But
Eubanks needs to start. I've been saying it. Put Jakob on the bench. Let Eubanks work his magic. Run the offense through Eubanks.
Free Eubanks.
Let's just trade Eubanks for Dame. I think Portland would take that.
I like Eubanks too. He could. I don't know. He's a depth guy. Okay, going back to your original question though, I'm like thinking about it, and I'm not sure how I want to do it because ideally, when I think immediately this roster, I just think of Zach Collins starting at the 4 immediately. That's actually what I would do. And honestly, then just play just play Doug McDermott as the backup 4. I know I'm not unless we sign Oubre, play Doug McDermott as the backup 4. And I know that's not the greatest thing, but I'd rather have him playing the 4 on the bench than in the starting lineup.
Make Luka a 5, and then our problems are solved.
Yeah.
That would be rough to watch.
Yeah, we couldn't play him. Yeah, what this sounds like to me, probably what I would do as of right now is I wouldn't play Trey. I don't know, but I want to play Trey Jones.
Me too. That's the thing. And I don't know how good of a playmaker Lonnie Walker is, but he is capable of being a point guard. He's only like, 6'4", 6'5". He likes the ball in his hand. He's a better on-ball player than he is off-ball shooter. We saw that last year. So, I don't know. I do want to address my man Montel Lovett real quick. Why didn't y'all throw money at Jared Allen? I don't know. Maybe we did, but he signed a pretty hefty contract to stay with the Cavs. So clearly the Cavs wanted him, and I'm sure he probably wanted to stay and play next to Evan Mobley. But I have no idea if we even talked to him or not. I think Jude's frozen. I'm going to text him real quick to let him know. Oh, his power went out. Rip Jude, everybody. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the back. I'm going to read a couple more comments, I guess, and if no breaking news happens or if Jude doesn't come back, we'll probably just wrap this up because who knows how long we'll have to wait for the Spurs to make another move. Let's see. Oubre at 2, Keldon at 3. Am I still on? Yeah, I'm still on. Yeah, sorry, Jude's texting me right now. Yep. Looks like it's just me. Alrighty. Hopefully he can rejoin here in a second. Oubre at 2, Keldon at 3. I mean, Keldon at 2, Oubre at 3 maybe, but I don't know who would play at 4 and 5. David Gonzalez. Miles, there's no one we need to keep more than Jakob. At this point, where we're looking like we're not going to get another big guy, yeah. Thank you, Mocha, for letting me know. Noah, I think you're right. Luka and Lonnie's last year. That's why I really wanted to keep Luka as the backup 4. And maybe I don't want to say not get Oubre because I do want Oubre really bad, but I also don't want to take minutes away from Luka Samanic before he's even had a chance to prove that he's good. And Lonnie, yeah, same with Lonnie because his contract year's coming up, and he's one of those guys that has flashy moments and great highlight reels. So someone's going to throw a lot of money at him, and if he can't prove that he's like 6th man of the year caliber, maybe ceiling, I don't know if we should keep him or not. We got to see a big jump from him as well, especially with Rudy and Patty gone. He's going to really be running that backup unit for us. I have absolute power. Thank you, Millennial Movies. It feels weird. I don't have a co-host. I'm just talking to myself right now. It's kind of a weird feeling. Zach Collins supposed to play the 4? His Wikipedia page, Montel, has him listed as a power forward / center. He's 6'11". He can play both spots. I like Jude said, I'm really gonna have to go back and watch some film on him because it's been a long time since he's actually played. I remember him playing back with the Blazers back when he wasn't hurt, and I liked what I saw from him. He's a guy that can stretch the floor, but is also a big, strong body down low that could improve our woes that we had when we had Keldon starting at the 4 spot. So I would put him at the 4, at least right now, since we only have one other 4, and that is Luka Samanic. But we'll see. He could also play the 5, and we can put anyone else next to him. We'll see how the rotation works with him. Alexander with too many guards. So many good guards that it's hard distributing this. You're right. I agree. We're in a weird spot. I don't want McDermott guarding any athletic 3s and 4s. You forgot Forbes is terrible. This guy might be worse. Easy, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I have watched a lot of Doug McDermott. I watched him play with Creighton. I didn't really watch him in Chicago, but I watched him quite a bit with Indiana, and he is not as bad as Bryn. Bryn was disturbingly bad when he was starting at the 2 spot for us back in the day. Now, they both are probably going to play similar roles, but Doug McDermott being 6'7", being longer, and quite frankly, being a little bit more athletic than Bryn Forbes, I think he's more capable of a defender by far. Now, is he going to lock up people like Devin Vassell? No. Do I want him guarding LeBron James? Do I want him guarding Kevin Durant or some of these athletic 3s and 4s? Absolutely not. But I'm going to have to disagree with you on your second sentence, which is he might be worse than Forbes. No, I don't think so. Doug going to play 4. Jude was talking about it. He played a lot of 4 for Indiana last year, so that's a possibility. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't want it to happen. It's the same reason I don't want Keldon playing the 4. He's just going to get bullied too much down low when we're playing guys. You know, he's coming over to the West now. Now he's got to deal with more than just Giannis and Joel. You know, he's got a lot of big dudes in the West that he's going to have to face. AD, I'm trying to think of more. I know Jokic is a 5, but, you know, I don't want him playing the 4 spot. But if that's all we got, that's all we got. It's like I said, this is going to be a strange rotation. I have the roster written out in front of me, and Jakob and Eubanks at the center, Collins and Luka at the 4, and then we have Keldon, Devin, Doug, and Wisekamp at the 3 spot. I haven't even mentioned Keita Bates-Diop. And then we got, you know, obviously loaded at the guard spot. Everyone knows who we got at the guards. Can you explain why people think it would be bad to let DeRozan walk if we can't get a package that meets our timeline? I think people, Miles, including me, just kind of have a bad taste in their mouth because we let LaMarcus go for literally nothing. We waived Powell when he was old and useless, and you're giving him so much money. And I get the logic. Why would you give someone up for nothing when you can get something back in return? But if it doesn't fit, I agree with you. If it doesn't fit our youth movement, I'm not exactly about it. And now that we have Collins, do we even really want Lauri Markkanen? Now are we going to be stacked at the 4 spot? And who's going to back? Is Luka going to get any minutes? So it's a weird. We're in a weird spot right now. Lakers got Howard back. Yeah, I saw that. Good news, everybody. Jude is going to be back in just a second. He's resetting his Wi-Fi. So if you're just a big fan of Jude and don't like my face up here, stay anyway because Jude will be back, I promise. They are neglecting the 5 spot. You're right, Easy. You're right. As much as I think Jakob's a really capable defender and a solid center, I don't think he's the future of their 5 spot for sure. I think he's much better as a backup center, in my opinion. We have to spend the money on someone though, right? Gorgie's not on our roster. Go Spurs, go. He's a free agent right now. Miles, yeah, Jude and I have discussed this a lot, and it really depends on what your opinion is of the Spurs and what you think our future is going to look like with free agency. Do you think we're going to get anyone in the next 4 years or so that is a transcendent talent enough to push us to a championship team? Are any superstar free agents going to want to come to the Spurs? I tend to think not, because like Jude said earlier, the only one we've gotten in recent memory is LaMarcus Aldridge, right? Otherwise, we really don't make that much noise in free agency because we're not a big market. We're not a destination spot like New York or Brooklyn or LA or any of those teams, Chicago even. We're the San Antonio Spurs. We draft our guys. We draft Tim Duncan, Manu, David Robinson, TP, Kawhi. We draft our superstar talent. And right now, I don't know if we have a superstar on our roster. We thought maybe DJ would be that, and he's panned out to become a really solid point guard. But is he going to be a superstar? Probably not. Derek's probably too old at this point to become a superstar player. So Jude and I tend to think that what we need to do as a team is sign guys to be role players for the future and hope we draft a superstar to be our centerpiece, our cornerstone. And then we can start trading some of these contracts that maybe they didn't pan out, like a Luka, like a Lonnie. Who knows where they're going to end up after this season. So do we have to spend the money on someone? Depends on who's available. Depends on who's available. That's really all I can say. If someone is there that could be a piece and is young and fits our timeline, like a Kelly Oubre, I think we should try to pay him. Now, will he sign with us? Maybe not, but we should at least try. Older power forwards that rebound and defend who could help. There were a few that we
Okay.
He's back.
Hey,
Yay!
thank you. So
What's
I
up,
was
dude?
so scared. We've never had this happen before, and I know that there were some other people whose power went out too. So I know I wasn't the only one. But I was just so glad because I started this stream at first, and
Mm-hmm.
so that I thought that we were gonna be like screwed. I thought that the stream was gonna shut down. But luckily, the way that it works is it keeps you in here when I dip, so that everything can keep going, and all good. And I see we got 42 people in here still, so
Yeah,
I'm
man.
so glad that I'm so glad that this worked out. And now I'm back. Had to reset the Wi-Fi, but we're good. It has been an hour, so I mean, maybe we can have like one little more convo and then maybe wrap things up.
Yeah, I was just about to answer this question,
Okay.
this Miles question. If that's the case, are there any older power forwards that can rebound and defend who could help? Left on the board, I'm not sure. So let me go look real quick for you. Oh, here's a guy, perfect, 25 years old, Trey Lyles. He's got a high ceiling. We should really throw the bag at Trey Lyles. I'm just joking, of course. I would not want to re-sign Trey Lyles. He is gone forever. There's a James Johnson still on the board. He's a power forward. It's really physical. He's really like a Walmart brand Dennis Rodman, kind of plays similar style, but he's not nearly as dominant. And he's 34 years old, so we could probably get him pretty cheap. Just looking for guys that can play the 4 or the 5. Boban's gone. Alex Len is gone. Dwight Howard's gone. Bobby Portis is gone. Oh my God, my dogs are freaking out. So I'm gonna mute myself for a second so you guys don't have to hear me. Jude, continue talking.
Yes. Okay. This has been the fun world of live streaming. I feel like that's what we've learned about. We had me exiting out, getting Mother Nature just inserted me out of the video, and then now the dogs. I don't know if it's raining over there where you're at, but maybe they're barking at something like that. I don't know what they're barking at, but it could just be something else. But anyways, yeah. So Zach Collins, Doug McDermott. No news so far on anything else really Spurs related. I think I did just see something on Keita Bates Diop. Not to change the subject, but also okay. All right, guys, Patty's gone. It's official. He will be signing with not us. No, he's not actually signing anywhere. But he is. The Lakers and the Nets are in pursuit of Patty Mills, which is honestly exactly what I expected. I don't know about you, Ethan. I don't know if the dogs are still going crazy.
They just kind of stopped. I'm hoping
Okay.
it's permanent.
Okay, so yeah, Patty Mills being pursued by the Nets and the Lakers. Are you surprised?
Not at all. I think that was pretty obvious to anybody that keeps up with the NBA. Shooters are always valuable, and the Lakers need shooters pretty bad.
Bates
With
Diop's qualifying offer just got pulled. He hasn't already signed. I was wrong.
Oh no!
So no more Keita Bates Diop. Bye. And we have
Well,
not re-signed Dwargy Jang as of right now. And we're still kind of waiting on everything else really right now. It's all
That's
just stuff
nuts.
that we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, no more Keita Bates Diop. The reason they wanted to do it was to create more cap space.
Okay, that's smart. At least we know they're trying to do something.
I think we're still trying to sign somebody.
Could be Oubre. Maybe.
I think we could also still be working on a sign and trade with DeRozan of some sort.
No news on DeRozan. I'm kind of surprised.
And the qualifying offer on DeRozan, and that qualifying offer did just only created like we went from 27 million to 28 million. But yeah, still maybe, I don't know. You got to squeeze every single million that you can in a lot of these sign and trades. So that could pulling the qualifying offer from Bates Diop. They had already extended it to him, and now they pulled it, which tells me they were intending to initially have him on the roster, but now they're trying to give themselves a little bit more flexibility, I think is what they're doing. So I think really the main thing we're waiting on is this DeRozan sign and trade.
Yeah. I hope it happens sooner rather than later. And I do want to mention a couple names here. I can't remember who asked me, but who are some available kind of older guys that can maybe round out the big spots for us, that can rebound, maybe play some defense. And here are a few names that haven't been signed, to my knowledge. We got Daniel Tice, the unrestricted free agent. Some people love him. Some people really don't like him. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched much of his highlights or anything like that from his days in Chicago or with Boston, so I don't really have an opinion on him. We also have an Enes Kanter that's available. Not a huge fan of Enes Kanter, but he does rebound, and he's a big body. Rashawn Holmes, I didn't know he was an unrestricted free agent. I thought we were talking about trading for Rashawn Holmes, but according to this website, he is an unrestricted free agent center at 27 years old. And the last name I have right now is Frank the Tank Kaminsky from Phoenix. He is also available.
Those are all decent options. I wouldn't mind Frank Kaminsky, especially as a third-string center. I just think that he's pretty skilled and would get better defensively here. So, yeah, still some options, but I think that there is another big move that the Spurs. Maybe this is just me reading into it too much, and maybe they just wanted to save money. But I feel like, why would you try to save $1 million if you already have $27 million in cap space? That doesn't make sense to me unless you're trying to make another move. So maybe it is just the Spurs just doing it to be stupid, but it makes that I don't see how the Spurs would be pressed to need that extra $1 million. You know what I mean?
That's a little strange.
So this seems like there could be. I think that the DeRozan sign and trade and a potential Kelly Oubre deal are still imminent. So those are the things to watch. But any final thoughts, Ethan? John Collins has not signed with the Hawks. That is still something, maybe that one other, actually, that's probably what's most likely that $1 million was for, because remember in the tweet that we saw earlier, Ethan, is that the Spurs were just under offering Collins a max. Maybe pulling that offer from Keita Bates Diop allows them to do that, and that's how they finish their offseason.
Wow. That would be nice, because then we move Zach Collins to the backup center spot or share minutes with Eubanks, depending on where his injury is right now. Insert Collins at that starting four. Doesn't take any minutes away from Luka Samanic. And then we got McBuckets.
And you got and then you got Eubanks as the third string center still.
Which is very valuable.
That's a great value pick. In that
situation.
Did you
hear that?
Yes. It's okay. We did get at least one Collins, if we did.
Yeah.
We got a Zach Collins. So
Gavin Sanchez, I appreciate
Ethan
you,
looking mad cute this evening. Yes.
Appreciate you. It's the really nasty attempt at trying to grow facial hair. It does it for people. I know.
All right. Ethan, any final thoughts here on this live stream?
I'm not angry about what we've done. I just think that we just need one more guy that can play power forward or center, and we'll be good. If that's Collins, unbelievably happy with that. If it's Markkanen, I'm okay with that. If it's nobody, we're not going to win the chip anyway.
Yes, right, exactly. All right, well, I would love to do this all night. Honestly, we still got a ton of people in there and in here, and we appreciate you guys. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, after I got kicked out, after the power went off, and we've been going for about an hour now, I think this would be just to make sure that doesn't happen again. And okay, Ethan, let's make a commitment right now. And are you okay with it? And maybe this is just a bad idea. Maybe it's not a good idea. But if
Mm-hmm.
at some point we're both free in the next like whatever hours, and there's a big Spurs signing or a sign and trade or something, are you down to come back on live?
I'm always down to come back
Okay.
online.
Okay. So we will make this. We're gonna dip, and we're gonna avoid any any other malfunctions, and make sure that we've got the recording right, so that everybody who comes back and watches this can come back to it, and we can upload the podcast audio. If y'all don't know, if y'all want to just listen to any of the stuff that we talk about while you're driving or whatever, we do just upload to a podcast. Obviously, YouTube's the main thing, but we have that option for you if you want it. And we want to make sure all that works good. But if there's a big news, we'll pop back in here, and we'll be live again to talk about it. So, all right, y'all. Any final thoughts, Ethan?
Go Spurs, go, my man.
Go Spurs, go. All right, thank you guys so much. We'll catch y'all in the next one. We'll be live again probably soon, because I have a feeling that the Spurs will make a big move, but maybe they won't. But over the next couple days, we'll see. We'll be here, and we'll be making content. So catch y'all in the next one, and we'll see you guys later.